Is Mr. Beast evil? A question that has boggled the minds of many around the world. From possibly scamming fans, having dangerous work environments, or even hiring alleged predators. All this information has been released sporadically, and I don't blame you if you can't keep up with it. This video is made to compress the information all into one quick and concise manner to help you stay informed and answer the question, is Mr. Beast evil? Most of you already know about the Kris Tyson situation and how she was caught on multiple different occasions talking about and spreading lolicon, commissioned art from the famous artist Shadman, who not only drew the child actor and Wolverine in an inappropriate way, which is putting it very lightly, but also drew the daughter of YouTube's infamous creator, team star of Drama Alert. She was caught in chats with minors and allegedly Mr. Beast himself, holding very inappropriate conversations. And this is all a bad look, and thankfully for me, Mr. Beast agrees, as Ava was shortly let go from the company a little bit after all this came to light, even though Mr. Beast had conducted an investigation where apparently they found no wrongdoing, but Kris Tyson still did not be employed Mr. Beast. So as of right now, that seems to be dealt with. Apparently, she wasn't the only predator working at Mr. Beast. Delaware was a former Mr. Beast employee who turned out to be a registered sex offender. Unfortunate, I know. Hate when that happens. You ever just hire someone and next thing you know, whoops, they're on the registry. The reason being, Delaware was accused of SA by an 11-year-old. He was 16 and took a plea deal. Christ, you must have the worst lawyers imaginable. Only the charge will be dropped soon according to Jake the Viking. Frank, in the justice system, that could mean anything. So if you're Mr. Beast, you have this guy who's a registered offender who you are aware of, and your audience is full of children, the safest thing to do would be to ensure that guy doesn't have a job all in your company. You guys deal with a lot of kids. I don't think it would just be on the safe side to keep him, not part of it, just so you don't have to deal with this PR nightmare later. Instead, he chooses to give him a job. I see that people are throwing around the mask thing where they said he in a video where he had a mask on and he was trying to hide his identity because they knew. Apparently no. That is the only video where he's wearing a mask, which is the insane asylum video, which I think it's just part of the gimmick. They're in an insane asylum, so they're wearing masks and they're all wearing get-ups. He's appeared in other videos, maskless.
If someone did but a shred of research, you'd find this still publicly available, almost 7-year-old video on the Mr. Beast channel, where you can see Delaware as the Best Buy store manager before he was hired at Mr. Beast. And guess what nickname was embroidered on his Best Buy uniform? Delaware.
Including one where he appears to be working at a Best Buy with the name tag Delaware. Appears to work at Best Buy. He's working at the Best Buy. Say it's possible that Mr. Beast didn't know. He alleges in his interview with Oompaville that he was not informed. Even he says his mother, she wasn't informed. She wouldn't let him hire a registered sex offender.
Like, I probably should have gone on some site and hired people who had production experience, but instead I walked into my local Best Buy and I just hired multiple people. Obviously, when I was a teenager, I didn't know what a background check was. And I just hired a couple people there that wanted to help me make videos. One of them was the person named Delaware. And no, I did not know he was a registered sex offender. There's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening. And when I read that tweet, the first thing I did was I called my mom and I was like, hey, this is like 7 or 8 years ago. Just put this in context. 7 or 8 years ago, not indicative of my company today, but I was like, did this happen? Because someone's claiming this happened. My mom said, I would have literally quit or honestly probably shut the business down before I ever let my teenage son hire a registered sex offender knowingly, which I have a very protective mom. So, I mean, even if you don't believe me, you should at least believe that. I feel like it's not absurd to believe that my mom wouldn't have knowingly let her teenage son hire a registered sex offender. Like, that just doesn't even, like, in what world does that even make sense?
So it's up to you to believe him on that. I'm going to say, like, I'm not going to put that on him and say that 100% that he knew. He just had to know. There is plausible deniability that he didn't have to know. In early 2024, Mr. Beast announced that he will be hosting a show on Amazon Prime dubbed The Mr. Beast Games, where 1,000 contestants compete in challenges for $5 million cash prize. Sounds like a great deal, right? Not only do you get to be on reality TV, but you also get to work with one of the richest men in the world, almost guarantee that you'll at least walk away with something. Unfortunately, it seems like there would be a lot of territory you'd have to go through for that game, especially if you're a woman. After the games were held, many disgruntled contestants joined together to file a class action lawsuit against Jimmy and the MrBeast company. The only complaints I care about in the documents are the first 5. The other ones, are there more of the same or something I could care less about? The first 3 complaints were all about the failure to pay by the company. Apparently the contestants were under the expectations they would be compensated for their participation in the MrBeast games. However, this document fails to establish whether that belief was given by the company itself or the past of MrBeast giving out money to contestants out of the kindness of his heart. If it's the latter, then that's completely on them, considering that this is different from just crazy YouTube video, but instead an Amazon contracted reality TV show. But still, most shows like this give out a form of compensation for the days or even weeks off work to help contestants stay on their feet. So, MrBeast, he could have done them a solid and, at least get him like a grand or something. However, the 4th and 5th complaint paint a completely different picture. Apparently, the woman at the MrBeast games dealt with a handful of sexual harassment. Now, the problem with these claims are that the only thing legible in this legal document is that, and quote, really do everything you can to empower boys. The talent wants to draw dicks on the whiteboard, then let them. This is the only concrete thing we have. And no offense, I don't care if the contestants draw dicks on the whiteboard. How does that affect you? Everything else in this document is covered up and I can't see it. So unless there's an uncovered version of these legal documents that I'm missing, we're just gonna have to wait and see the results later. And I will do a follow-up when I get those results, I promise. A MrBeast intern named Ty Orr was flown out by Jimmy to he was hireable and helped pitch ideas to the company.
Dylan and Kara, and within that conversation they basically told me that I needed to make a prompt. And when I say prompt, let me just read the email. Hello Ty, we would like for you to come in for a vibe check. Vibe check means you come in for a few days to see if you're good, see if you're a good worker, see people are not going to be annoyed by you, and see if they can move further on with the hiring process. If possible, we'd like for you to come in for 3 days at some point next week. I've got a recruiting coordinator, Leslie, CC'd on this email. She will help you figure out the days which you can make it and handle your travel arrangements. Now, this is the most important email of all. What they want me to do is to do 2 video prompts. Attached, you will find 2 video prompts. Pick one that inspires you the most and document and write out how you envision it. Really let your creativity flow and assume everything is possible. So in each of these prompts, one of them is the world's most dangerous trap room and the other is 24 hours to spend $1 billion. I went with the world's most dangerous trap room because spending $1 billion in 24 hours just seems kind of boring and quite frankly linear. I think I have more creativeness than that. That's just not something I want to do. And then like we mentioned before, this is Leslie sending me an email. Thanks Ty, are you able to fly in on Tuesday, be on office Wednesday through Friday and fly back out on Saturday morning? Of course I said yes, and she gave me all my travel info.
And after showing off his very detailed ideas, MrBeast promptly said, take your ideas,
turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up. You can do it.
Defeated after getting rejected. Imagine Ty's shock when he saw a MrBeast video that ended up using his idea. And not only that, didn't give him any credit for it. No credit, no money, no job, no bitches. Now many may say Ty's idea wasn't original and that anyone could have thought of it, but
an unpaid trial to see if this guy gets hired for the job. I don't think the ideas that this guy brought to the table is meaningful enough for him to be compensated.
Congratulations, you just said the stupid shit I have heard all day. Like the fact that you put those words together in a sentence and thought that shit was okay, crazy, absolutely crazy.
Man, isn't it sure convenient that MrBeast used his same ideas in the same order, in the same way that he pitched to him? So you're free to believe on who you believe, but I'm gonna err on the side of MrBeast being kinda slimy here. Another employee worth mentioning is Jake Weddle, and he alleges inhumane treatment from the MrBeast company. But you don't have to hear that from me. Why don't we ask the man himself? I got into contact with Jake Weddle and asked him a few questions regarding his situation. So real quick, I asked him what his big complaint was with MrBeast. What was the quick recap he could give to everybody?
To jog the audience's memory, I was in a last to leave challenge essentially, but it was last to leave solitary confinement. Not last to leave. It was a win $10,000 for every day you survive blank. A very formulaic video structure that he does. and I was supposed to be in solitary confinement. The way it was pitched to me, the video was supposed to be 100 days in solitary confinement, but behind the scenes they said all you have to do is last 30, and we have a video. I ended up lasting 11 before I was, pulled out, begged to leave, Regardless, I did a solitary confinement challenge where I was given $10,000 per day. That's how long I lasted.
Now, this story has been addressed by Mr. Beast in his interview with Oompaville. In his response, he states that the whole thing was voluntary and that Jake had the option to stop at any time.
And so in his video, he went 11 days, won $110,000. Right? I believe it was 11 days. Yeah. Yes. And then he decided to quit on that day. And, he mentions this in his video, like around day 11 or 12. I don't know what the day is off the top of my head, but he was struggling. And so we did turn off the lights. We sent a psychiatrist in there to check in on him. And we were like, yeah, he's not doing too well. And we ended the challenge and we paid him. Didn't go long enough where we got a video, so we didn't end up uploading it. But I think the big thing is just, that's why we allow people to leave these challenges. Like my goal when doing these obviously isn't to break people mentally or push them past their limits. It's just to create an environment where they can challenge themselves and do something interesting or cool. And then when they've had it, leave, you know what I mean?
Number two, let me clear that up. So as far as everything being voluntary, I mean, technically, yes, when somebody who has less than has, $300,000 dangled in front of them, yes, they'll jump through the hoop like a good boy to get the carrot. But it wasn't voluntary that I was in that economic situation to begin with. It wasn't voluntary that I just happened to be in the right place, right time, and was working for Jimmy for 2 years. I did the video after I had left, and I had came back to do the video, because I was like, oh my God, that's, life. Life is money, and you get that kind of money dangled in front of you. You push yourself farther than you'd like to be pushed in order to get the thing. How often does an opportunity, quote unquote, come? So let me just make sure I'm addressing everything into here. They got me a psychiatrist. They got me a psychiatrist. They got me of someone's mom who just happened to be a psychiatrist because they didn't want to take me to an actual hospital because then there'd be a record. So it was just somebody's psychiatrist mom who was off duty. And after 4 hours with her, she was like, y'all gotta stop. Then, I wanted to get out for quite some time. I kept making concessions like, can we please do this to make it a little more bearable in here? Can we please do this? It was no. None of the things I asked for to make it more bearable in there, which again, there's an element of a challenge in a game, obviously. But I was also told going in that, if you need to stay in there longer, off the record, we can make that happen. And then that wasn't the case. So I was pulled out on my own accord after I had been begged to get out for quite some time. And it wasn't until the psychiatrist came in and said, y'all got to pull the plug, that they finally pulled the plug 24 whole hours after that.
Now, here's where I get a little preachy. Mr. Beast, I understand that, Jake had full capability to quit the challenge whenever. But as someone running an event where you're throwing life-changing money at someone, they're not going to tap out as easily as you want them to. It's up to you and your company to handle a situation like this more responsibly. Now, another thing that was stated was that Jake has been compensated on multiple occasions. And yeah, that could be true, but he still has a right, in a way, to be upset about the event happening. Him taking the money doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I don't mean it, I'm good now, I'm healed. But also Mr. Beast giving the money, that's not fully him admitting to guilt. Mr. Beast could have just gave the money so that Jake wouldn't complain, or maybe he just felt bad. But still, this situation, it's a little messy. But again, I urge you to draw your own conclusions. The entire catalyst for this time Mr. Beast move was led by one Dogpack 404, a former Mr. Beast employee who was let go from the company shortly after joining the team. He then drops a 3-part expose on Mr. Beast, in which part 3 was scrapped due to legal issues, which we'll get into later, and accusations of Mr. Beast working for Satan. If you don't already think that's insane, then trust me, it gets 10 times worse for this guy. Well, he falsely accuses Mr. Beast of using CGI and faking some of his events.
This pit is fake. No, it's not.
Here's footage of them digging the pit. You know what? Here's a crew member's footage of the 2 non-CGI buses and non-CGI train being in the pit after they drove them in there.
Shredder is CGI.
Nope, at this timestamp they do shred an actual Lamborghini in a legitimate shredder. But I will say that when they use CGI, it looks fucking terrible, as if it came straight out of a CW show.
This car is digitally lifted.
This car isn't digitally lifted, however they did change the original red coloring to blue to make a visual distinction between the first rocket car they launched and failed, which was red, and the second one they launched, which succeeded but was also red. Because they were scared that both cars being red might confuse the audience, so in post they just changed the second one's color to blue, but there was no digital
by using people he knows in videos, even though some of them are just filling in spots, and even falsely accusing Jimmy of owning cheese pizza. If you want a good idea about how charitable Dogpack or Dawson has been to Mr.Beast, to get a general idea, I suggest you take a look at Soggy Cereal's video on the situation. Not to form your opinion, but again, to just get a general feel of Dawson isn't 100% trustworthy. However, I'm here to talk about 2 things. 1, his reason for being let go from the Mr.Beast company, and 2, his false allegations against 1, James Warren, who Dawson accused of domestic violence, after simply seeing there was a James Warren charged for domestic violence. Now one could say James Warren is a pretty common name. Know a lot of guys named James, know a lot of guys named Warren. Putting those 2 together doesn't seem too insane. So, one will make sure before making the allegation to take the time and make sure all the details are right before releasing.
Dogpack404 put out his 3rd video, Mr.Beast's Secret CEO, in which he was later proven to have accused an innocent man, James Warren, Mr.Beast's cousin, of domestic violence. He later admitted this on Twitter after his own source disproved him and he looked into it himself, only to find out he accused the wrong guy.
You know, Dawson, I really wanted to believe you, and everything. As a fan of Mr.Beast, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, because I wanted to offset my own bias towards Mr.Beast. I simply can't do that for you anymore, especially when all this comes after your firing at the hands of LaKoya Hill, someone you also had false accusations for. In the same video, you pulled the James Warren stunt.
LaKoya Hill, a name that has been brought up quite a lot. Now, LaKoya was a very important member of the Mr.Beast crew, but allegedly acted very inappropriate towards one of the workers. Secretly hired him at another company, then fired the accuser, and then brought LaKoya back in.
So, just kind of give you background on when someone reports something to HR, which would have been me at the time because it was years ago. Whenever somebody reports it, I go, hey, okay, thank you, I appreciate it. We're gonna make sure that we do everything we can to look into it. Then we always hire a third party company, either a lawyer or someone that's not here to prove one person right or wrong, but a true unbiased party. And so everybody talks to him, the person, his assistant would have talked to them, LaKoya would have talked to them, and any person that they named as witnesses or potential proof of text messages, pictures, anything, this company would have dealt with. And then they write a report and then they go, hey, here's what you should do, right? And so that's what they do. And then internally what we do is okay, the assistant, what do you want to happen, right? If it's this, if it's that, obviously if it's found he's gone. That's not okay in any workplace,
If it's confirmed that there's something.
Of course, we're not gonna hang on to that, right? And so, and he's I don't necessarily want him to be fired, but I don't want to be around him. I don't want to see him. It's just really uncomfortable for me, So we're okay, great. So I actually worked with him to come up with a list of jobs that he wanted, because again, if the person who he's assisting is not here, it's okay, well, now what's your job? So it was we came up with everything he was interested in, what he wanted to do and stuff like that, and move him into a different role. And we said, hey, you won't have to see LaKoya again. We're gonna move him completely out. It wasn't a secret. We moved him to a new company idea that we had. He was the only person in that company. He wasn't even on site. He wasn't working in the building. He wasn't anything like that. We just said, hey, we think this is a cool idea. Go figure it out. And so he went on his own to go figure that out. And then the assistant worked with us for a long time. And then when he wasn't here anymore, I think it was almost a year after the assistant had chosen to do whatever he wanted to do. Then we were okay, we'll bring LaKoya back to help, because at this point there's no conflict anymore. So that's really what it was. It was no, oh, we're gonna go hide LaKoya over here. Even now LaKoya doesn't work for us anymore.
How am I supposed to trust your actions are noble when everything else points to you being a disgruntled employee who just wants his revenge? Nothing shows that more than this next segment. Rosanna Pansino is someone who's notorious for hating Mr.Beast, all because she was allegedly cheated out of a hide-and-seek game. Doesn't get more immature than that. This is a damn near, I think, mid-30s, 30-year-old woman getting mad over a hide-and-seek game. That is what this all comes from. Somehow that turned into alleging someone owning cheese pizza. How you let your hate for a hide-and-seek game turn into false accusations, God knows. Now, some people would say she's justified in their anger. We don't talk about those people. After this, if you call yourself a fan of Rosanna Pansino, I can't exactly say I respect you with full confidence. Her and Dawson released a video claiming that MrBeast had a work chat that contained NSFW conversations. Now one might ask, why is this a problem in the first place? I mean, if everyone involved is okay with it, then I couldn't tell you. Apparently it's something about being professional, but we're talking about YouTubers here. Finding out a YouTuber is a degenerate is like finding out somebody in a Republican cabinet is gay. It doesn't come as a shock. Rosanna and Dogpack alleged that there were pictures of, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, not even CP, all right? Child pornography was sent in this work chat, which, by the way, had no way been confirmed to be a work chat, besides word of mouth and some work-related conversations that could happen in any chat. But they had no evidence that this was CP, and weren't even sure about it in the video.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this isn't a work chat.
So Ava Tyson sent
You didn't prove
photo
that.
of a young-looking girl in a sheer top.
Ivanka Trump when she was 13.
Yeah, and
That's not true.
So this photo is allegedly of Ivanka Trump when she was 13. Ava
False, she was
thought
18.
that this was possibly a 13-year-old, and she's
It wasn't.
posting it in a work chat. And then I've done
You didn't prove
reverse
that.
image search, and I mean, it seems
You reverse
plausible that
image
it
searched
is.
what you thought was
Why would you ever
CP.
send somebody a picture of a 13-year-old topless?
Why would you
A lot of
save
people
that
on
to
the
your
internet
computer?
Are labeling this picture as Ivanka Trump. I can't find any definitive proof that it is, but
That
Why are
looks
you
like
posting
her.
it?
it does look like her. But like, yeah, it looks bad. And I can't confirm or deny if it is. I mean, it
Why are
seems
you
plausible
posting
to
it
me,
then?
But either way, like having Ava Tyson saying, "Oh, this photo is allegedly Ivanka Trump when she's 13."
You still didn't
It's
prove that.
sexually explicit. You can, she's wearing a see-through.
You have the
top.
same
That's
photo
insane.
saved
That
on your
is
laptop.
Wildly inappropriate and
You have it saved on your laptop! And as it turns out, lucky for them, because these two, to make that image, that they thought that was CP. And they made that the thumbnail. They found this extremely bad CP and decided, you know what? Let's kind of lightly censor it with a couple bars, and let's make that the thumbnail for millions of people to see, and plaster it right here. Even tested out a few different colors to make sure it looked pretty. Somehow, Rosanna fans still feel like she's in the right exposing this. Thank God she plastered it for more people to see. Wouldn't want anyone not seeing it. That would be bad. And see, here's the thing. Dogpack could have built a legit case against MrBeast. He could have had such a good case if he hadn't muddied the water with all this trivial bullshit and the information that killed his credibility when it all wasn't necessary. All he had to do was tell the stories that he had concrete information for and give out that information. I feel like that's good enough. There is bad enough stuff on MrBeast that you could build a case for him. But instead, you leave it for people like me to pick up the pieces and put together a coherent story that actually builds a case against MrBeast. You're already bad enough. You had a slam dunk with the Kris Tyson stuff. You had a dunk with the Delaware stuff. Even Jake Weddle's story is kind of, it's just tragic. But it's obvious because you're not doing this because you're noble. You're doing this because you're a mad employee who is upset that he got fired. Unfortunate for you.
I'm a employee. I'm our COO. And part of my job is that you're pushing back on everything that we're saying. So
Well, because you're trying to fire me, and I want to work at this company.
I'm the CEO of this company. If I'm talking, don't interrupt me. And I am telling you this is what's happening, and you're telling me that I'm wrong. I am not wrong. I've made the decision. Here, we will take care of how
I
you get
appreciate
back
that.
to where you need to.
Can I please have a second chance?
It's not.
Just, if I'm getting paid, just let me come in and let me try to be coachable. If Hoodie changes his mind, can I? And I've been trying to get to this point of working on MrBeast for a long time. I think there are other people at the company, if I were to switch departments, that would be very happy to have me. I don't care about the salary.
It's not. No. It's not.
Segment is solely to say, go watch CoffeeZilla's video. I cannot do it any justice at all. I don't know how to explain the crypto stuff, nor do I want to. I couldn't tell you. If you want a good explanation, watch CoffeeZilla's video. Do you really want a YouTuber to form your opinion for you? Do you really want a YouTuber to form your opinion for you? I mean, I'm just an 80-year-old in this room talking to a camera, and so are most of these people. I'm not gonna sit here and lecture you on why you should remain neutral and all that. I know you're not gonna do that. My only advice to you is remain steady in your morals. No matter what side you're on, whether it's the people finding any excuse that MrBeast is evil or the people that are sucking the foreskin off this man to make sure he has the infinite benefit of the doubt. Not everyone has to fit into these two boxes. And those universal evils we can all agree on, unfortunately don't really apply to MrBeast as a person. The company, it's up in the air. So really, it's up to you. If you hate deceptive business practices and corporations doing everything for money, then you hate Mr. Beast. However, if you're one that believes that businesses have to do certain things and make certain sacrifices to keep up or else risk being left behind, then you're probably gonna take more kindly to Mr. Beast. But no matter which side you're on, at least we can all agree, Lunchly's our ass. Lunchly! Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Special thanks to Cam Nuggets and Jake Weddle for the extra information. If you liked the video, like the video. For watching my content and you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? And this is Printer, and I've answered the question, is Mr. Beast evil? And I'm signing out.
Always staying strapped up like Rambo.